Hi, thanks for joining back with me. This is Kat Carr from Communicating with Non-Human Creatures, a view of the unspoken world. I hope you were able to catch the last episode because this is a continuation of what I was talking about previously about Aura the spider. I was talking about some information that she shared with me that was on more of a scientific level, and there were a few little insights like that she shared, and we had some kind of casual communication. But this went on for a couple of weeks. She was there for maybe a total of 3 weeks, and the first week I didn't really communicate with her. I just marveled at her and all. And then it was during the next 2 weeks or so that she was always present there at her spot on the porch light, the light fixture. She was there for about 2 more weeks, and I noticed she was growing pretty large. And let me tell you, she had set up a great spot in front of the porch light because as a spider, they feed off of insects and other little creatures that get caught up in their web, and a lot of creatures are attracted to the light. So that was really a good place for her to feed, and she was growing pretty large. And she communicated with me that she was going to have babies, but that her babies wouldn't be born until the spring, but she was going to be preparing for that. And some of the information she shared with me, I was kind of sad on a human level because I found out that she was going to be gone when the winter comes. Her egg sac would remain, so she had to make sure it was very well protected and things, but she would pass away before the babies hatched in the spring. And this kind of saddened me and intrigued me all at the same time because I was thinking, how do the babies survive without their mom? And, I just can't imagine this from a human perspective. And my thought was also that I wanted to save her.
I'm a dancer.
Just 1 moment. That was my son. He was come out here to show me something he was working on. But, my first inclination, I guess from a human perspective, was I wanted to save her. And I was like, if I could bring you inside to survive through the winter, maybe set up some kind of like an aquarium with, and try to make it as naturistic as possible, then you could survive the winter, right? And you could have another year of life. You don't have to just be stuck with this 1 year or less of life. And, she was like, no, that's not really my desire. It's like everything that I need, I have right here. And it's okay. I don't need to go through another life cycle. That's like entering another life cycle. That's not really natural for me. So I'm going to have my babies and everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. And I was like, okay. So, sure enough, just as my son had said, one day you're going to come outside and she's going to be gone and you're going to wonder, did something bad happen to her? And you're going to be sad. Well, like I said, I understand nature and I know, things happen. So, I wouldn't say I was like particularly sad. I wasn't like crying or anything. But when I came outside and found that she wasn't there one day, it was kind of a mystery to me. I literally started wondering, did something come along and get her? Did she just go off to hunt or, prepare another place to live? What's going on? And I wasn't getting any message from her, so I was kind of a little bit concerned, But this went on for, I'd say at least a week and a half, where I'd just come out and look at her empty web and wonder about her. And then there was one night where I went out on the porch, and it was kind of later, so everybody else was asleep. And I was thinking about her and honestly kind of missing her and hoping that she was okay. And I was thinking about my communication with different types of insects, and I thought, what is the purpose of this? Why me? How is this possible? All of these kind of things. And then suddenly I got the image, the communication in my mind, and I knew it was her. It's like it just has a certain feeling, even though it's not, it's hard to describe because it's not like a certain voice, but it's like this certain feeling. But it came through and she said, "Here I am." I'm like, "What?" I said, "Well, I don't see you." And she said, "I'm way up in the trees." And I'm looking all around, but it's nighttime, so I couldn't see her anyhow. And I said, well, I'm glad you're okay. She said, yes, I'm okay. I'm preparing a really safe spot for my baby, so I have to be way up in the trees, and, I'm kind of tucked away. So they're going to be able to be safe through the winter, and, everything will be fine. But there was like an information download is the only way that I can describe it, like a transmission that came through that literally had me in tears. I mean, I was just sitting there kind of crying silently on my porch. I mean, I wasn't boo-hooing, but I just had tears start streaming through because it was more feeling than anything else. But it was like all my questions were answered. And I'll try to put this into, the spoken language as well as I can. But gosh, I feel like I'm really coming short on it. I've been thinking about different ways to communicate, and it's so hard. What she communicated to me was that she had chosen her life. Because I had thought about things like, why would a spider, they have such a short life? Why would they be a spider? What is the purpose in that? How do they relate to the context of all living beings on the planet, And she said, I chose this life. And I chose it because I wanted these experiences. I have true freedom. I have true love. And the images that she was showing me and the feelings going with it were really amazing. I mean, in a spider's life, they don't have to go to school. They don't have to work or, provide any kind of financial stability. They don't even actually have to be a parent in the same respect that we do. They are already gone before their babies hatch, and their babies just by instinct know how to do all these things as they grow up. They feed themselves. They, there's some preparations that are made from the mother when they're very young, but I mean, no one teaches them how to weave a web or how to catch their prey and feed themselves. They don't have to be coached or take classes or anything. They just know. And there was a great amount of freedom in this, and a great in-tuneness with nature. And there was joy and feeling that she shared through feeling with me that was something that I can't even describe in the human language. I mean, it was beyond ecstasy. It was beyond, just positivity. I mean, it was pure love. And that's what I felt, was just pure love. And I got the message that love is the highest thing. There's nothing that compares to that. And in the world of non-human creatures, that's how they live. Everything's pure. They have no subconscious versus conscious mind. They have no division. They know everything that they need to know instantly. They don't have to think about things even from an egotistical standpoint, which an ego from a human perspective is not always bad. It's kind of like a tool that we use through our world. But they don't have that. They don't have to do anything from an ego stance. They don't have to ever lie or be deceptive or, explain anything. It's just all right there. And that feeling of pure love that I received from her was what caused the tears to start streaming down my face. Because, I mean, I can say I've experienced love with my children, but this amount of pure naturalness was just overwhelming. And she said, I am what I am. I don't have to change to be accepted by anyone or anything. But you've accepted me for who I am. You've loved me truly for who I am. I didn't have to do anything to earn your love. I didn't have to impress you. I didn't have to change my form to be more acceptable to you. And yet you've loved me in the deepest way. That's where we have this connection. That's how we're able to communicate. That's why I would even choose to communicate with you. And I felt so much honor and so much blessing in this. But it was like I had been wondering these questions, and then suddenly the answers were coming through to me, and they were so simple, It's like it was so simple in my mind then. Like, oh, okay. But that's how this communication was even able to go through, because on the level that they're at, and that's why I say insects may be more advanced than humans in some ways, because they don't have all these things to bypass. They've either already bypassed it, or the system was never created bypass to begin with. But when you can bypass those blockages and be at a level of pure love, then that's where the vibration, that's the frequency that it's at. That's where you can begin to communicate and even, decode things or feel things, or however it comes through. So this was something that really moved me, and, I wasn't able to do any recordings for a couple weeks because right after my previous recording, not the last one, but the one before that, I got really sick, and I had an ear infection, and I couldn't hear. I'm still recovering from it now, but it took me a few weeks, I guess 2 weeks, really, of solid discomfort to go to the doctor and get prescribed antibiotics. But I didn't feel like I could record during that time because I couldn't hear very good, and I sounded funny to myself when I was talking, and sometimes my mind was kind of fuzzy, because I guess when you have an ear infection, it affects your equilibrium, and I felt dizzy and foggy-headed a lot of times. But anyhow, I'm getting better now, and during that time where I wasn't able to record, even while I was sick, I was still receiving different downloads, which I need to make several different recordings on. But I'm just now trying to relate the information. But it was really I would say a spiritual thing to receive this information, to learn this. It's like the deepest message I could have about love in the most simple form. And it feels like it makes sense to me now. It's not like a mystery that's, hidden behind some door or something. It's like that has been open to me, and it doesn't just relate to, how we could perceive non-human creatures. I mean, really, this is how I feel like I should be perceiving any living creature. Another human being, another animal, plants, the whole world. That just because they're a separate entity from me on this physical earth, I feel like we're all interconnected, we're all one. But when they choose to put consciousness into that form, that's what they chose. They are what they are. And the only way to truly connect with someone who is separated through another physical body on this 3D dimension is to have unconditional love for them. That requires a true amount of awe and just feeling that other person or creature is amazing, and being totally open to who they are and what they do, with no limitations, with no hesitations. Because a lot of people talk about love and it's a word, and I could say, oh, I love my car, or I love this or that person. But when it comes down to it, what is love really? Love isn't just about what you can get out of that person or out of that item at that time. Love is about the time and energy that you put in, the thought, the vibration that you put into that other creature. So emotionally and even physically, as well as spiritually, we're there for that other creature, that other person, that other life form. We're there for them, and we accept them in all of their form, every bit about them. So I hope that's helped someone today. I gotta run and do some errands, but I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, and thanks for tuning in with me. Take care.